If you need no other reason to move to the city of Chicago, make your reason, because this is the best city to run in across America, by far, hands down. Now, granted, I haven't been to every city in America, so what do I know, right? You may have been to Des Moines, you may have been to Indianapolis, you may have been to Cincinnati, you may have been to Colorado Springs, whatever city you've been to, whatever city you've lived in, you've been there, you've ran it, you know it's great. But for me, coming from Pittsburgh, one of the hilliest cities in one of the hilliest regions across this great country, I can tell you that running in Chicago so far has been amazing. It has been fantastic. First and foremost, because it's not hilly here. It is flat as a skinny girl's ass. And that is incredible, because I hate running up hills. Just like everybody hates biking up hills. Just like everybody hates walking up hills. Outside of the psychos and the sickos that are purebred masochists. They love it, but nobody else does. And I'm not really one of them unless I'm really in the mood to train that way. But Chicago is easily the best city to run in. Not only because it's flat, but because it is beautiful. There's greenery everywhere. Right now I'm outside of Harold Washington Park. I'm right across the street from it. It's right by my new apartment. And it's beautiful to run by. In the evening, in the daytime, in the morning, it doesn't matter. It's gorgeous. There are tall buildings. There's activity. There are people doing things 24 hours of the day. They're getting food. They're hanging out outside of the shops. They're shooting the shit. They're driving around, blaring their music, acting like assholes, acting like dickheads. They're gossiping with their girls. They're carrying bags from their shopping spree. They're walking their dogs. They're talking on the phone because they have important business to get to. Chicago's always happening. And you get so much of that, not only in Hyde Park and in Kenwood, but you get it downtown. You get it in every part of the city. I was in Old Town yesterday whenever I did my 10-mile run out there to see if I could do it, because I hadn't ran that far in my life. And it was just as active on a Sunday. Everybody was out and about, riding the train, getting food, walking their dogs, running, gossiping, catching up with family, catching up with friends. It was incredible. And that's what makes this city so fun to run in, because you have the lights, you have the activity, you have the flat earth, you have this energy that makes you want to run faster and farther. And I can relate it to a post I saw from Zach Pograb, who is one of my favorite creators on Instagram, when he talked about how much he loves running in New York City and why he believes people should run in New York City, whether they're visiting and running there, or what he advocated for, I believe, if I'm not taking his words out of context or completely putting words in his mouth, whenever he said that people should simply move to New York City because of how great of a city it is to run in. I would agree. From what he showed me in that Instagram reel, what he showed everyone in that social media post, and what you can simply see on the maps, what you can see on Google Images, what you can see if you just visit, New York City got to be one of the best cities to run in. But I would say Chicago is even better, because I think Chicago is just a better city. Granted, I've only been here for a short period of time, but there's something about this city that just screams America, that screams prosperity, that screams opportunity, that screams every last thing the human being has within it. There's not one character trait, there's not one aspect of the human condition that isn't illustrated and showcased vividly here in Chicago. And that's why I think it's the best city to run it, because you will never get bored of it, you will never get tired of it. Whenever I did that 10-mile run to Old Town yesterday, I could have went farther. I just said I was going to go 10 miles and my phone was about to die, and I was 10 miles away from my house, and I needed to figure out where the next train was going to be. So I decided to stop early, or rather I decided to stop before I continued on further, even though I could have, because my legs were feeling good, my lungs were feeling good, my willingness to keep going was certainly there. Like it's always going to be here, because it's just simply too hard to say no to a run. I just did 2 miles out here while I was waiting for my laundry to get done. And even though it was only a 2-mile run, it was amazing. It was fantastic because that's all you need. You just need to get out and about. And Chicago is one of those cities where you'll never have an excuse not to come out. You'll never have an excuse not to come out. Granted, in the winter, that may change. Haven't been here for the winter, but right now in the summer, I can imagine in the spring, I can imagine even in the fall, because the climate's fairly similar to Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh in the fall, I believe, is the most beautiful place on earth. I believe there's no better place to be in the fall than Pittsburgh. This city's going to be incredible for running, and perhaps even in the winter, it's going to be that way too. So if you're looking for a reason to move to Chicago, I just gave you one. In fact, I think I gave you 1,000 wrapped up into one. But I would go a step further and say, if you just want a more exciting life, come to Chicago, because you can come out here and run. You can come out here and get active. There's stuff going on all the time. It's going to be very hard for you to stay in your apartment, especially if you're a young man who's ambitious, trying to build a life for himself. This is where you want to be, because there's people doing it. Whether by necessity or by choice, they're out here getting to it. They're hustling, they're making connections, they're eating great food, they're dancing the night away, they're expressing love till their hearts drop to the floor. That is Chicago. That is the Windy City. That is the city that I have fallen in love with. Even though I've only been here a short period of time, I can tell you, as someone who fell in love with Pittsburgh, being born and raised there, who knows every single nook and cranny of that city, that I'm going to feel the same way about this city as I continue to live here. So with that, I say, God bless, have a great night. I'm gonna get my laundry because, well, I ain't got no motherfucking clothes if I don't. So I'll see you in the next one. Peace.